Hello, welcome back to a vlog on a Friday with me, and I am feeling a bit, I think my voice is probably giving it away a little, but mellow is the word that comes to mind. And I'm not really sure why, because I've had quite an interesting week actually. Maybe it's all just caught up with me, but what I wanted to say was that the mellow isn't a sad mellow, because I think mellow tends to get that kind of, no, I guess it can be, I'm just thinking of mellow wines. So it can be a good thing, is what I'm getting at. It doesn't have to be like a sad, negative feeling. But yeah, I'm just feeling, got to a Friday, feeling a bit mellow, felt a bit like slower this afternoon. So just noting that energy that's coming across right now. And I guess, where do I want to start first? I think one of the things that I want to talk about is how my events are going. So this month I have launched a Visualizing Your 2021 event, and it's all about some kind of coming into, like, kind of connecting with your body more through a guided meditation that I will do, and then there's an element of breathing within that meditation as well, and then there's a bit later on in the session doing some creative activity through my take on vision boarding. So just as a kind of snapshot, that's what those events are about. And so for the last couple of weeks, when I've been sitting here and talking, I've been talking a bit about them, obviously, and I've had experience now of how to go about kind of getting myself out there and what's happened in the process. And kind of just another update on that front, I decided this week, whilst I was out on a walk, that I noticed that I was feeling this kind of pressure. And I decided that I was like, I don't need to put myself in this position. If this is feeling like pressure for me, because I'm the sole creator of this whole process and this journey that I'm on, I'm doing this to myself. And I have a choice here, and I can either choose to continue to make things work, because I'm having a little bit of issues at the moment, like trying to advertise my events. So I was like, I can carry on like trying to look into things, trying to resolve problems that I'm having, or I can just take a step back from it all and be like, well, what is this all about for me, and why am I doing these events? And seeing as they're the first events that I've come out with since I've started being more out there, so to speak, is this how I really want to do things? Do I really want to make myself feel like this? And it was really wonderful, actually. I was out on my walk, and the part of the event is about delving into yourself and really kind of coming into contact with almost your intuition and your deep, deep desires. And so whilst I was out on this walk, I kind of had a sense of that, and this has happened before for me. It's not a new thing, and it's something, it's like any kind of skill in your life or anything, like physically, when you're working out, you've got to keep working at it, don't you, to actually activate that, whatever that is, whether it's your muscles, whether it's honing IT skills, or whatever it is. And so I've, over the last couple of years, even more probably, started tapping more into my intuition and what I really want. So I think that's something that I wanted to make note of, that I think if you allow yourself more space, that will come up. So if you're someone who's kind of feeling lost sometimes, which I often do, by the way, tapping into your intuition is one way of kind of finding a way forward with something. I didn't see these events as a problem in life, but I was kind of noticing that pressure, as I said, and I wanted to kind of, take a step back from it. And what came up was my intuition was kind of guiding me to go, you know, all of that, what I just said about pressure, etc., and taking the foot off the pedal. And my intuition also kind of led me to this idea of, instead of feeling the pressure to get out there and start attracting new people, why not just start from a place that feels a whole load easier than that? And that's just reaching out to people that I know and asking them if they'd be interested in coming along to these events, and also asking them if they would be prepared to invite their friends or their loved ones along. So, and from that little learning that I received from myself as I was out on my walk, has kind of definitely taken off the pressure. I just automatically felt a sense of relief, like, oh, so I don't need to be doing all of the other stuff. The other stuff is going to be done at some point, but it doesn't need to be right now. It can wait, because that will come when the timing is more in tune with wherever I'm at in my journey. So it's not like I'm running away from any of that. I'm just kind of gaining probably a bit more clarity on what is it that I really need right now. Is it that I need new people to take an interest in what I do? Or is it more, I'm putting myself out there for the first time, and it would be obviously ideal to have people in that event that I can guide and do this, you know, this coaching, facilitating thing that I want to practice, that I can do that with and that I can share that with. So the clarity on the focus for me has helped me take off that pressure. So that's one thing that's come out of changing direction slightly. And then out of that has also come two other things. One was I put together a little update for people that came along to my launch last October. So if you haven't been following my journey, back in October I did a little launch Zoom party for my website, and I haven't got back in touch with those people that came along, and they were, you know, my loved ones and people that I've, you know, come across since I've started this journey for myself, this self-exploration. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to write to them. I'm going to give them some updates on where I'm at since we last met in October, and then I can share this new phase of mine and invite them along. And if they want to come, it's an option, you know. So that's one other thing that came out of changing this course. And then finally, something that I've been meaning to do, and this is more technical, is learn how to set up email campaigns. So I did that too. So again, with the same people that came along who I've got email addresses for, I've gone off and done, you know, used a platform to put an email together. And yeah, like all of that came from just reframing things, realizing that I don't need to do all these other things that I think I need to do, and actually I can make things a lot more simpler. And with that breath, just kind of, yeah, like find a sense of ease and breathe a little bit easier. So, So that's been an interesting learning curve that I've been on, and that's, I'm sure, many entrepreneurs' journey out there. Anyone who's watching this who can relate will totally understand where I'm coming from. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, I've been there, I've done that, I know how hard it is difficult, but you just got to keep like putting one foot forward. As I said in my previous vlog, like one foot forward, then the next one, and it's all a learning curve. the main thing is that I'm putting myself out there. That is one of the sole purposes of doing this, and practicing my skills and honing my skills, and also like working out, is this something that I can see myself doing going forward? And yes, there was a yes from the session that I held where my mum and my sister came. And there's going to be more that probably, you know, as I do more of these, because I've got one this Sunday and I know that some of my loved ones are coming to that. So, you know, each time you do this, you learn something else about yourself. So it could be that I kind of take away, maybe I won't do this and I'll do this instead, you know? So it was nice to hear that from a friend who's been there, done that, words of encouragement. And that's the other thing I've gained out of continuing my storytelling with my, you know, loved ones that came along in October. I've had some lovely messages come back from them. And it's been another kind of side outcome of this has been, I noticed when I wrote the little update that I did and I shared it, it felt good to write. It also felt good because sometimes we you know, when we catch up with people, it's all over the phone, and verbally talking through someone, you know, how things have been for you is very different to how you may put it together in writing. And I enjoyed the process of putting it down on my laptop, and it's kind of like reinforced that I want to do more of that, because it was like a self-reflection exercise for me, as much as it was about doing an update for my loved ones. So yeah, lots of things clearly came out of just that one decision to turn my compass point a little bit and be like, okay, if I face this way now, how do things feel? How do things seem to me? Does it feel more within my reach? And the answer was yes. So one of the shares I have is that, you know, when sometimes you're presented with something and it feels like, oh, I'm not really sure, can I really do this? And sometimes there's that fear and that anxiety, and you've just got to work through that. But sometimes if you just turn yourself in a different direction, do things seem a little more comfortable, a little more at ease, a little more achievable that way? And if they do, what's stopping you from turning that way? Just because I have doesn't mean, for instance, going back to the events, that I'm not a successful individual, because I think that's one of the top things that stops people from changing that direction slightly. I don't feel less accomplished facing that way. I just feel that this is still there's going to be learning facing that way too. And that's learning that I want to have right now. And I don't want, if I'm facing this way, and you know, how I was looking at doing the events before, the pressure that I felt around that. So yeah, so that's kind of where I've been at with the event side of things. And let's see now how I've got one this Sunday, and I've got one last one on this theme next Sunday. So yeah, so that's kind of in the background, and that's going how I want it to go. And I guess the only other kind of what felt present for me right now to talk about was I was just watching a program on BBC around women who have set up businesses in the farming industry, and I was quite taken aback by it. I think that's why I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, these women in some cases have not had any experience. Like, there was one duo, sisters, who have set up a winery. They didn't have any background in it, and they just decided to change directions in their life because they were doing something else, and they saw an opportunity and they decided to take it up. But one of the key things that I took away from their story is that they won't know for at least the next 5 years if they're going to be profitable. That's quite a while to take that gamble and not be able to, you know, have that kind of, they're doing pretty well out of the situation in their kind of, you know, early phase of their business. So the trajectory is looking good, but there's still no guarantee that by the end of, you know, the next couple of years that they're going to be a profitable business. And so that was like quite an eye-opening moment as I watched this program. It's on BBC One. I've seen it before. They showcase people in, I can't remember the name of the program, but people's lives, like farming lives. And like last time I watched it, it was a daughter that had taken over the farm from her father. And when I watched it again today, a similar story for one of these ladies, and she's got like not only the farming responsibilities where she's rearing a special kind of show winning cow, probably getting all these terminologies wrong. She's also got like a side business of textiles. She's got a passion for creative material work, so she's made that part of her, you know, business, and that actually brings in quite a bit of the income for the entire business, that it helps pay off the bills in the farm. And then on top of that, she's also selling the meat from the farm at markets. And I'm just like, these are inspiring women out there doing the hard graft as well, like the physical labor, not just sitting, and I don't want to demean anyone that does this, because I do this, sitting behind a desk, tapping away, you know, or, you know, I am starting to sound demeaning, so I'm going to stop there. But they're doing that, but they're also doing a lot of other things, you know, getting up really early in the morning and keeping things ticking over. You know, physically, I watched one of them squishing the grapes in this massive, I don't know what to call it, but like a massive container. And it was like really, you know, getting in there and really physical labor, and clearly very strong to be able to do it, or, you know, having done it for a while now, built up the strength. So yeah, like inspiring to see individuals in our country who are women as well, starting something from nothing, and a bit of hand and mouth in some ways, where whatever they are able to earn is what's paying towards something else. And I can imagine that there's a lot of people like that across the country right now, because of the kind of almost 12 months that we've had. And what really came through for me was their resilience and their mental health. That, I mean, maybe the program doesn't really go there. They don't really ask those questions or explore that theme with them. But as an outsider looking in, it looked like they're trying the best, you know, they're trying their best. And they also seem like they're enjoying it. There's obviously the challenges behind it. They're also choosing to do this. They could have, you know, carried on in whatever they were doing, but they decided to leave that life, come back to the farm and try out this idea. And yeah, you can sometimes throw in the towel and be like, oh, this is too hard. But one of them was saying, like, it's a 24/7 thing. Like, if I don't get up, you know, the cows suffer, they don't get fed, you know, and then it's all about their well-being. And it got me thinking. It was like, you know, there's obviously a lot of people in a situation of, looking for work right now, having lost jobs during the pandemic. And that sense of responsibility that woman feels, it's like, I can't afford, literally, to just lie in bed and be like, I can't do this anymore. Maybe, I'm not saying this is a good thing for her mental health, that she can't do that, because sometimes I think we do need that, like, downtime where we can just take it. And I'm sure she does, even though she's saying it's a 24/7 thing, she's human at the end of the day. But it didn't come across, at least, that she's missing something in her life, And I think being an urban dweller where we haven't got a lot of nature around us. I was in a park earlier today and I was like, this feels so good, this feels really nice to just hear the birds twittering, look out in front of you and actually see no buildings and just see grass. And it was still frosty, and it was like, this is quite a scene, and not to have that as an urban dweller. And is that one of the factors that has led to high levels of depression in this country and in the Western world? That loss of connection to nature and a lack of responsibility to something else, to someone else. Like, us urban dwellers maybe don't have that many people or animals that depend on us. That real sense of responsibility. I think it's obviously different when you're a parent, and I can't speak from that place. But when you haven't got that, you haven't got this nature to be in, to connect with, no wonder we are a nation that's suffering in that sense. So yeah, I just wanted to riff a little bit on that and kind of contemplate on that a bit more, I guess, over my weekend. But yeah, so there's my little update for how things are going with me, and what felt quite present for me right now that I wanted to share. If you're enjoying these, obviously give me a good thumbs up, and feel free to connect if there's anything that really resonates with you that I'm talking about. Drop me a little question or a comment. It's always nice to hear from anyone that's watching. And I will see you next week around about this time again. Take care.